Andy, has Mauricio Pochettino got a point, or is he slightly concerned because of the Christian Eriksen situation, amongst others?
That has to, not to necessarily cloud how he views this, but clearly he's not happy that possibility could be there, Eriksen getting picked up by another European club. But the majority of Premier League clubs voted for the window to close when it closed. Everyone agreed on that, or the majority agreed on that. So that's how it is. This is just the situation as it stands now. Are all the other clubs complaining about this situation as well? I've not heard too many other coaches saying, actually, this is unacceptable and there's still a possibility of losing. But this is the way things are at the moment. So unless they sit down and say, actually, this isn't working, we've got to then get in step with Europe and close our window when they close theirs, that's a decision they can change later on. But they've all made the decision to do it when they've done it. Yes, it does come with the complication of you may lose one or two of your key players, but in a way, that's life, isn't it?
I mean, Europe aren't even aligned. Serie A is at a different time to La Liga and the Bundesliga as
it's
well.
all later, but it's all later than
yes,
this, isn't it? Yeah.
all later.
One's at the end of August, one's early September sometime.
Correct. But do you think the only way that the Premier League clubs will reverse the decision if we see a wave of foreign clubs raid for players and leave them exposed?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that would be the right decision as well. I think what you found as well at the end of this transfer window, it was like we were almost clamouring for players because we knew the window was closing, and it was almost like you look at it now, clubs might look back and think, well, did I play a bit more for him? Did I pay a bit too much for him? Because you're almost desperate to get players in.
Yes.
Because that club's bought so many, you don't want to be falling back too much, and I think that's a problem as well.
What do you think will happen with Christian Eriksen? Brought off the bench at the weekend.
Well, I can understand, because I covered the game and we were all surprised that he was on the bench. But
did we get a clear answer as to why he was only on the bench?
Not really, no, because Ndombele was in the side, and actually, but the way that the first he played perfectly into Christian Eriksen's hands. If he was unhappy about being on the bench, I'm sure Pochettino would have explained why he's not. I can't understand why Eriksen wouldn't be in a first-choice Tottenham side, because he's clearly one of the best players. But they were so laboured and poor in the first half. Only really when he came on did things start to happen. So in a way, he backed up. He's not saying it, but by the way that he played, the Tottenham fans are looking at him and saying, clearly, he makes a huge difference to how we play and how we're going to do this season. So we have to make a decision on what we do with him. You can't have him on the bench. I just don't see how you can have a player of that calibre on the bench. And if you do that, the clubs in Europe are going to say, well, clearly maybe you don't want him in your start 11. Then he comes on and has the influence and shows how good a player he is. That again is going to make the clubs that want him say he clearly is a good player. He's having a huge effect on Tottenham. We'll try and take him. Well, Tottenham have to make a decision on Eriksen. They have to decide what they're doing with this.
He'll be sought after.
Is, yeah.
And it's a case of if Spurs want him now to sign Eriksen's holding all the cards now.
Yeah.
Because it's almost as if to get Eriksen to sign a new contract now, he almost will become Spurs' top-paid player. He'll have to, because he will get absolute fortunes when he goes to a Barcelona or an Inter Milan.
He's not in the wrong to do what he's doing. No. He's perfectly within his rights to do what he's doing.
And I suppose Spurs have tried to get him signed up. I suppose there has been offers made to him. But whether he's made his mind up, he wants a change of a climate, wants a change of a league, that could be the case. It certainly looks that way that he's not signed.
Spurs have every right to sell him, and Christian Eriksen has every right not to sign a contract and decide what he wants to do. So
what's going to happen?
Tottenham have to make a decision on him, because it seems to me if he's not signing whatever the money is, unless they go astronomical with the offer to him, which they might have to do.
Which would have knock-on effects with the rest of the squad.
Absolutely. If you talk about players, are they on comparative?
So in this case as well.
So
in this case as well, it actually did Spurs a favour that Barcelona or Inter Milan could come and sign him.
Yeah.
So it's actually working in Spurs' favour because their window's still open.
Yeah.
But has he not set his heart on Real Madrid, and that doesn't look like it's
happening? Or a Real Madrid.
It's how unhappy he is in the dressing room and whether he's having an effect on the dressing room. We know what happens when Alex Ferguson in charge of Man United. They didn't stand for anybody causing problems. They went. So that's why Tottenham, no matter how good a player is, they've got to make a decision.
But that's where he is different, though. They say he is an absolute model pro. Would never sulk or strop.
No.
Be a negative effect on the dressing room.
Well, we saw that when he came on.
Yeah,
he didn't
purely
at all,
now it's purely a financial decision.
Yes.
For both him and for Tottenham.
Well, Tottenham have got to do the best that they can, go as far as they can, and they'll say to their fans, we did as much as we possibly could. If he doesn't want to sign that contract, I'm not sure what more Tottenham fans would expect their club to do. Because, like you said, the knock-on effect with Harry Kane, with Dele Alli, with other players saying, hang on a minute, if you elevate Eriksen's wages to such a degree, we're going to go back in there, then suddenly everything changes in that dressing room as well. It's a decision that Tottenham have to make.
Other than a contract, and we don't know that it's the money that is the sticking point, what could possibly change Christian Eriksen's mind about signing a new deal at Tottenham? What could happen this season? What if they won the Premier League? What if they won the Champions League?
But they need him to do that.
Yeah.
So again, they've got to convince him.
Keep him, and if he sees success at Tottenham, sees this elusive trophy, is that enough?
But how do you keep it? If you look at the squad, it's a good Tottenham squad.
It's a hypothetical question in a way.
It ultimately will, in many ways, it will boil down to finances. But also, if it is Real Madrid, if it is Barcelona, with no disrespect to Tottenham, can we understand? I can maybe understand where it's.
So if you're Daniel Levy, would you try and cash in now?
You have to have the conversation with the player and say, this is as far as we're going to go, genuinely as far as we're going to go. Are you going to sign that contract or not? And if he says, if he's an honest lad and a hard worker, he should be fair to Tottenham as well and say, no, I'm not. Yeah. Then they can say, right, well, we have to make a decision. We can't let your contract run out and let you go for nothing.
But if you do try and cash in on him now, he's worth a third of what would he been worth if he had 2 or 3 years left of his contract.
But he's worth nothing next summer.
Absolutely right. So he'll go now for something like 20, 30 mil, possibly.
But is that better than nothing?
Yeah, but it's the same situation, exactly the same situation as Aaron Ramsey at Arsenal. He ended up leaving for nothing, but he played his part. I know they didn't get the top 4, but they should have done, and they got to the Europa League final last year, Arsenal. Ramsey was a model pro,
and they were making good offers as well?
But left for nothing. You could almost see.
But Arsenal had tried as much as they could in terms of offering him contracts, I presume, to try and get him to stay, or did it come to a point
where...
No,
the deal was taken off the table. He was about to sign, the deal was taken off the table.
Okay.
Which I believe was
clearly something must have happened that they
financial,
knew.
Purely financial thing from the club's point of view.
Yeah. So you can almost see a similar scenario.
Yeah.
Do they cut their losses and sell him now? Or do
now actually, you've brought it forward. If, say, the offers are around 30 million for Christian Eriksen, is it worth writing off 30 million quid for what he could do for Tottenham? If you look at his stats and what he contributes to Tottenham, is he worth 30 million for one season?
But if he turns down that last contract offer, so he presumes then he's going to be moving on, and they say, well, we're not going to do that, we want you to stay, they're then reliant on his character to play the full season.
Which, from everything you hear, he's absolutely the sort of player you could rely on.
It's easy to say that now, but is that going to be the case week after week?
So would you gamble 30 million?
I would, Jeff. I would.
Would you?
I think
for what he brings to the team?
And I think he has that much of an impact on the team. I think he'll play games, and for me, it's worth 30 million, because if they get into the Champions League...
His stats are incredible.
Absolutely, but against Villa, was he playing in a way not for the move, but to show again the difference he can make to the team? Absolutely, I agree totally. This is why he's one of the best players in the Premier League, why Tottenham will be doing as much as they possibly can to keep him. But it does come out, is he going to be unhappy if he doesn't... If his heart's on playing somewhere else, is he going to be unhappy? Players do get unhappy very quickly.
And the talk of a loan for Coutinho for a year, the cost was 27 million. And there were a few clubs interested. It didn't happen, a few interested. It's the same scenario. And surely for a player who's already at the club, he's worth 30 million.
Eriksen contributes more than Coutinho.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, if he's making that contribution, that's fine. If you can guarantee he's going to make that contribution, Tottenham have a chance of winning something. But can you guarantee that? I think you say absolutely, he's honest and hardworking. Is that going to be the case week in and week out? And players can get unhappy. You know, we've been in dressing rooms, people can't they, when they're not playing, or they are playing, and their head's been turned, or they're thinking of that was a possibility. It's not worked out. They can change. But with Spurs, and where they went last season, the Champions League final, hit the post, if you like, top 4. But I don't think they should be even contemplating letting him go. Whatever he wants, give it to him. I think he's that important. I believe so. I really do, because there's nobody does at Spurs what Eriksen gives you. Nobody can drop his shoulder and shoot from 30 yards, scores last-minute goals. His delivery is arguably one of the best in the Premier League. He's a great lad, apparently. He's a great professional, the model professional. Not kicked up a fuss about moving, everything else. He's got on with it. I think Spurs got to tie him down. They can't afford to let players like Eriksen... But ultimately, do you want to play for us?
If he's not signing, they can't. If he says no, I want to change. OK.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Watch this space on that man. Right, Paul Pogba, not for the first time, added a little more intrigue to his situation when, as part of an interview post-match on Sunday, when asked about his future, he said, well, we're still on this question mark. Is that a wise thing to say?
This is Paul Pogba. I don't think he really cares too much about what he says. He just heart on the sleeve stuff with him. He plays the game. He really does play, not just plays the game, he plays the game away from the game.
It's not a comment from a player that's happy in his environment, is it?
It doesn't seem so. It doesn't seem so.
I genuinely don't understand why he said it.
And if he doesn't say it on the opening day of the season, where you win 4-0 and there's a feel-good factor and there's momentum,
and he has an influence on the game
and there's been
as
a good
well,
performance.
Yeah.
John,
if he doesn't say it, then when is he going to say it?
John, he also said, I'm happy, I'm enjoying football, I'm with my teammates, I'm winning matches. But then he threw that in. When he was asked about his future, he said, we're still on this question mark. But I just find it a strange thing to say, in that it's not as though the big clubs in Europe are going to say, do you know what, there's a chance that Paul Pogba, he's just said, there's a question mark. They know the situation.
But it sounds like he's leaving it the door open, but the door's seemingly been open for quite a while. But again, this is what I'm talking about him playing the game. He didn't need to say that. But again, why is he saying this? Why is he saying this? Is he just, again, it's his character, maybe. This is the way that he conducts himself. He doesn't play like normal people play and talk. The interviews, he's not normal by any standards at all.
You don't necessarily mean that in a derogatory fashion?
Not absolutely. I think the difference is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. Not derogatory at all. He is unique, and you have to. Everything he says, you have to take with a pinch of salt a little bit. It's other players saying it. Christian Eriksen may be saying it. You take it in a very different light, I feel, than Paul Pogba.
I mean, the way he played on Sunday, he certainly looked happy,
Absolutely,
didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
He had one of his best games in a Manchester United shirt.
But this again, the setup of United, getting players running beyond him and getting him on the ball in a deeper position. He is one of the best players in Europe. Absolutely, he is. But he needs to, again, dominate games. We've been saying this last season. We'll say it again all season if he stays at United as well. He is an absolute powerhouse, and he should be leading the way. But again, does he want to be elsewhere? But is it not happening for one reason or another? Are clubs not able to get him out of there financially? Or is the right club isn't coming up for him? So it could be a combination of reasons why he's still there.
I think it's a bit different to the Lukaku situation. Lukaku to me looks as if he's down tools. He's not quite down tools yet, especially after that performance at the weekend. And for me, his best position is in the free role. Just let him go and express himself like he used to do at Juventus. His best role for me is in the midfield, not sitting, but going forward. And if you're Rashford or you're Martial, he can pick you out.
That's why he can do both. That's how good a player he is. He can
thread that
Absolutely.
pass with the right weight.
Yeah.
He's a goal scorer. He can score goals. He's a threat. He can head it in both boxes. He's a presence. You've got to give him a free. You can't tie him down and put the shackles on him.
Do you feel he's worried about, again, what United are capable of achieving? Does he feel he can't achieve things, no matter how good he is? Does he feel United aren't in a position to challenge for Premier League titles?
I think that's a great point.
And that's affecting him maybe as well.
I think that's a great point. And when you see United so far behind, if you like, in the last 2 seasons in particular, he's looking at Man City and he's looking at Liverpool and he's going away with his international team. He's talking to other players.
Is he thinking I'm better than this?
Having great success, he might be thinking, well, look, I need to be challenging for trophies. And Man United in the last 2 or 3 seasons, while he's been there, haven't done that.
Hanging around, he's thinking, I've won a World Cup. Hanging around the Europa League's no good to me.
Exactly right, yeah. Although that shouldn't be his mindset, because it's Manchester United and they are spending again.
Yes,
but
yes.
Now, if your pockets don't quite stretch to Christian Eriksen or Paul Pogba, there are 1 or 2 bargains out there on an absolute free. Top of the list, probably attracts the most attention, because he's an intriguing player, is Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah.
Who would suit Daniel Sturridge right now, and what, indeed, if it is a gamble, is the gamble?
Well, to me, there's a reason why all these players are out of contract, and for Daniel Sturridge, it's clearly his injury record, very similar to Andy Carroll. So I'm sure there would be a lot of clubs that would take him on. But again, in terms of, you'd feel that clubs would get him on a decent deal, but he still might command an awful lot of money to walk through the door, even though he's not played the games that he should really have played because of injury. We know what a great player he is, what a great goal scorer he is, and clubs would, fully fit, you probably wouldn't be able to afford him, but a lot of clubs would probably have the chance. But again, in the Andy Carroll, I was quite surprised in some of the money that were mentioned in terms of getting Andy Carroll through the door. That surprised me a little bit as well, considering the lack of football. Is it the same maybe with Sturridge? Are his demands still so high that a lot of clubs say, well, even though really you want to play and we would give you games, we can't afford to do that. It's
well,
still
if you're
too
an owner,
high.
I think if you're an owner of a football club, you have to overrule the manager here. You have to say, look, with his injury problems, and you have to structure the deal on appearances, on bonuses, on. I feel for players like Andy Carroll, like Daniel Sturridge, because they don't get injured on purpose. They don't want to be injured. They want to be out there. It must be a nightmare. You look at Jack Wilshere for long periods. It's great to see Jack Wilshere now fit again. Hopefully he gets a good run. It must be so frustrating.
The coaches want guaranteed
when
players,
you've got
don't they?
so much to give as well.
Yeah,
we
absolutely,
just keep picking up an injury after another. It must be so frustrating for these players.
And also, if it's going to cost you too much and those players break down again, then the financial cost hits as well, and then the coach might want him and say, well, he's fully fit, he's great for me, he's broken down again. The club will say, wait a minute, we're paying him good money here, and he's not playing for us again. We're in the same boat again. But clearly his talent is undoubted.
Is he the pick of the frees that are available, would you say?
Yeah, I think of the names on the list, there's a lot of others that I can clearly see why clubs would be saying either too old or maybe the financial situation would be too great.
As you say, I mean, there's some decent footballers on that list.
There are. James Morrison is one I've watched a lot in the Championship, and
I played with James at West Brom.
Yeah,
good player.
But like Jack Rodwell's a case in point as well.
He hasn't played.
He just hasn't played. A lot of injuries as well. So who is going to? But again, if Jack Rodwell said, you know what, I'll come and play for nothing. I need to get back playing again. I'll play for nothing. Your possibility then of maybe clubs saying, well, we've got nothing to lose by taking.
Especially after the Champions League, John. Would you be surprised if nobody doesn't come in for Fernando Llorente?
Well, I'm just about to say Llorente. When he was at
That's
Spurs,
what it says on the tin, doesn't it?
Spurs last season, all right, doesn't play every game, but keeps himself fit, good professional.
Is he the type of centre forward that teams want?
But when you want to change it, when you want to throw it up long, he's great in the air.
So he's an option. Yeah.
He's an impact player, really. Most of them players, you know you're going to get them, but you're not going to get more than 20 games out of them. Well, so that's the deal you do. You're not going to sign them and think, I'm going to get 40 games. This lad's been injured up and down, in and out for the last 10 years. He's not all of a sudden going to play 45 games for me at 33 with the issues that he's had.
But look at Danny Simpson, Premier League winner, still whip it thin, still fit as a fiddle. He's got to be a buy for somebody, sure.
But again, is it the finances? Is it as simple as that? They're so used to life maybe at Leicester. I don't know. Do their demands, do the agents say, well...
Danny just gone to Watford, hasn't he?
Yeah, so again, maybe there comes a point when the player got to think, if I want to play, and surely the money that they've made previously, it has to come in to say, well, if I want to play, I have to be a bit more sensible. Maybe I don't know with Danny Simpson, it might not be anything to do with that, but maybe that's part of the problem as well, is the cost.